There is a moment that no one prepares you for, a silent realization that arrives not with noise, but with weight. It is the moment when you understand that your life is no longer divided into past and future, but multiplied into two fragile existences that depend entirely on you. Parents of twins don't just experience parenthood twice, they experience it simultaneously, intensely, and without pause. Every cry echoes louder, every decision carries double the consequence, and every heartbeat feels responsible for two others beating in sync. It is a beautiful chaos, a relentless rhythm, a life where love expands beyond what you thought was humanly possible, yet responsibility stretches you in ways you never imagined. And in that space between exhaustion and wonder, something profound begins to grow. Becoming a parent changes everything, but becoming a parent of twins transforms your entire perception of responsibility, time, and identity. In this video, we explore the emotional, psychological, and deeply human experience of raising two lives at once, where every moment feels magnified and every choice carries twice the weight. This is not just about parenting, it's about resilience, adaptation, and discovering strength you didn't know you had. If you've ever wondered what it truly feels like to carry the responsibility of two souls growing under your care at the same time, this story will resonate deeply with you. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear this perspective today. Your support helps us create more meaningful content like this. The journey begins long before the first cry, long before the sleepless nights and the synchronized rhythms of care. It begins in a quiet realization that your life is about to change in a way that cannot be undone or simplified. Parents of twins face a reality that feels both miraculous and overwhelming, as if the universe decided to compress two lifetimes of responsibility into a single moment. There is no gradual adjustment, no slow transition into parenthood. Instead, there is an immediate immersion into a world where every need is doubled and every emotion is amplified. The anticipation carries a unique intensity, a mixture of excitement and fear that lingers beneath every thought. You begin to imagine what it means to divide your attention without dividing your love, to be present in two places emotionally at the same time. And even before they arrive, you feel the weight of what is coming, not as a burden, but as a profound responsibility that will reshape everything you thought you understood about yourself. When the moment finally arrives, it does not come gently. It arrives with urgency, with movement, with the undeniable presence of two lives entering the world almost in unison. There is barely time to process one before the other demands attention. And in that instant you realize that your instincts must expand beyond what you thought possible. Parents of twins learn quickly that hesitation is not an option, that decisions must be made swiftly and with confidence, even when uncertainty lingers beneath the surface. The room feels fuller, the air feels heavier, and yet there is a strange clarity that emerges from the chaos. You are no longer just reacting, you are adapting in real time. The sound of two cries does not create confusion, but rather a new kind of awareness, a deeper sensitivity to needs that are both individual and shared. It is in this moment that the concept of responsibility transforms from an abstract idea into a living, breathing reality that surrounds you completely. In the early days, time loses its familiar structure, hours blur together, and the distinction between day and night becomes almost meaningless. For parents of twins, there is no simple routine, no predictable pattern that offers comfort or rest. Instead, there is a constant negotiation between two sets of needs that rarely align perfectly. One child sleeps while the other wakes, one needs comfort while the other demands attention, and you find yourself moving endlessly between them, trying to create balance where none naturally exists. It is exhausting in a way that cannot be fully described, a physical and emotional fatigue that settles deep within your bones. And yet, within that exhaustion, there is also a quiet sense of purpose, a recognition that every action you take matters twice as much. You begin to understand that your energy is no longer your own, that it is being transformed into something larger, something that sustains and nurtures two lives simultaneously. As the days turn into weeks, a new awareness begins to take shape. You start to notice the subtle differences between them, the small details that distinguish one from the other. Despite sharing so much, each child develops their own rhythm, their own way of expressing needs and emotions. Parents of twins quickly learn that equality does not mean sameness, that caring for two lives requires a delicate balance between treating them as individuals and acknowledging their shared connection. This realization adds another layer to the responsibility, making it not just about meeting needs, but about understanding uniqueness. You begin to listen more closely, to observe more carefully, to respond not just with instinct, but with intention. It becomes clear that raising twins is not about duplication, but about differentiation within unity. And in that process you start to grow as well, expanding your capacity for empathy and awareness in ways that reshape how you relate to the world. There are moments when the weight feels almost unbearable, when the constant demands create a sense of being stretched beyond your limits. It is in these moments that the phrase double responsibility reveals its true meaning. It is not just about doing more, but about being more, about holding space for two emotional worlds that are developing simultaneously. Parents of twins often find themselves questioning their own limits, wondering how they can continue to give when they feel depleted. And yet, something remarkable happens in these moments of doubt. Instead of breaking, you adapt. Instead of withdrawing, you find new reserves of strength that seem to appear from nowhere. It is as if the presence of two lives depending on you activates a deeper level of resilience, one that you did not know existed. And while the weight never fully disappears, your ability to carry it evolves, transforming what once felt impossible into something that becomes part of who you are. The emotional landscape of raising twins is complex and ever-changing. There are moments of overwhelming joy, where the sight of them together creates a sense of fulfillment that is difficult to put into words. Watching them interact, even in the simplest ways, reveals a connection that is both mysterious and deeply moving. Parents of twins often describe this bond as something unique, a relationship that begins before birth and continues to evolve in ways that are both subtle and profound. At the same time, there are moments of frustration and doubt, where the challenges feel relentless and the pressure feels constant. It is this duality that defines the experience, a continuous movement between extremes that requires emotional flexibility and strength. You learn to embrace both sides, to accept that joy and struggle are not opposites, but interconnected parts of a larger journey that shapes both you and your children. As time passes, the concept of identity begins to shift. You are no longer just an individual navigating your own path, but a central figure in the lives of two growing beings. Parents of twins often find that their sense of self becomes intertwined with their role, creating a dynamic where personal needs are often secondary to the needs of their children. This can be both fulfilling and challenging, as it requires a constant reevaluation of priorities and boundaries. You begin to understand that your presence is not just important, but essential, that your actions and decisions have a direct impact on the development of two distinct individuals. This realization brings with it a sense of purpose that is both grounding and demanding. It forces you to become more aware of your own behavior, more intentional in your choices, and more compassionate in your responses. In many ways, raising twins becomes a process of self-discovery, where you learn as much about yourself as you do about them. The physical demands of caring for twins are undeniable, but it is the mental and emotional aspects that often go unnoticed. There is a constant awareness, a need to remain attentive and responsive at all times. Parents of twins develop a kind of heightened perception, an ability to detect subtle changes in mood, behavior, and need. This level of awareness can be exhausting, but it also creates a deeper connection, a sense of being fully present in a way that is both rare and transformative. You begin to understand that parenting is not just about action, but about perception, about being able to see and respond to what is not immediately obvious. This skill becomes more refined over time, allowing you to navigate the complexities of raising two lives with greater confidence and clarity. And while the challenges remain, your ability to meet them evolves, creating a sense of growth that extends beyond the immediate experience. The relationship between twins adds another dimension to the experience, creating a dynamic that is both fascinating and complex. Parents of twins often observe a connection that seems almost intuitive, a form of communication that exists beyond words. This bond can be a source of comfort and strength, providing each child with a sense of companionship that is unique to their shared experience. At the same time, it introduces new challenges as you navigate the balance between encouraging individuality and nurturing their connection. You begin to see how their interactions shape their development, how they influence each other in ways that are both subtle and significant. This awareness adds depth to your role, requiring you to not only care for them individually, but to also guide the relationship between them. It is a responsibility that extends beyond the immediate needs, encompassing the long-term development of their bond and their individual identities. There are moments when the simplicity of life feels distant, when the constant demands create a sense of longing for rest and stillness. Parents of twins often find themselves reminiscing about a time when their attention was not divided, when their energy was not stretched so thin. And yet, even in these moments, there is an underlying awareness that this experience is shaping something meaningful. The challenges are not just obstacles, but opportunities for growth, moments that test and expand your capacity for patience, resilience, and love. You begin to understand that the difficulty is not a sign of failure, but a reflection of the depth of your commitment. And while the longing for simplicity may remain, it is accompanied by a recognition that what you are building is far more complex and valuable than what came before. As the children grow, the nature of the responsibility begins to change. The physical demands may lessen, but the emotional and psychological aspects become more pronounced. Parents of twins find themselves navigating new challenges, guiding their children through experiences that require understanding, support, and patience. The focus shifts from meeting basic needs to fostering development, encouraging independence, and supporting individuality. This transition brings with it a new set of responsibilities, ones that require a different kind of awareness and engagement. You begin to see how your influence shapes their perspectives, how your actions and words contribute to their understanding of the world. This realization adds depth to your role, making it not just about care, but about guidance and mentorship. Throughout this journey, there is a constant interplay between control and acceptance. Parents of twins quickly learn that not everything can be managed or predicted, that some aspects of the experience require a willingness to let go. This acceptance is not a sign of weakness, but a recognition of the complexity of life. It allows you to adapt more effectively, to respond to challenges with flexibility and resilience. You begin to understand that your role is not to control every outcome, but to provide a stable and supportive environment in which your children can grow. This shift in perspective creates a sense of balance, allowing you to navigate the uncertainties with greater ease and confidence. The support system around you becomes increasingly important, providing a source of strength and stability in moments of difficulty. Parents of twins often rely on others for help, recognizing that the responsibility is too great to carry alone. This reliance does not diminish your role, but rather enhances it, allowing you to function more effectively and sustainably. You begin to appreciate the value of community, the importance of connection and collaboration in navigating the challenges of raising two lives simultaneously. This awareness extends beyond your immediate experience, shaping how you view relationships and support systems in a broader context. Over time, the intensity of the early days begins to soften, replaced by a deeper sense of connection and understanding. Parents of twins often reflect on how the experience has transformed them, how it has reshaped their priorities, their perspectives, and their sense of self. The challenges that once felt overwhelming become part of a larger narrative, one that is defined by growth, resilience, and love. You begin to see how the weight you carried has strengthened you, how it has expanded your capacity in ways that continue to influence your life. This reflection brings a sense of fulfillment, a recognition that the journey, with all its difficulties, has created something meaningful and lasting. The concept of responsibility continues to evolve, becoming less about obligation and more about connection. Parents of twins often find that their role is no longer defined solely by what they must do, but by the relationships they have built. This shift creates a sense of freedom, allowing you to engage with your children in a way that is more balanced and fulfilling. You begin to see them not just as individuals who depend on you, but as people with their own identities, their own paths, and their own potential. This realization adds depth to your experience, transforming the nature of your responsibility into something that is both lighter and more meaningful. Looking back, it becomes clear that the journey was never just about managing two lives at once. It was about discovering what it means to expand beyond your perceived limits, to grow in response to challenges that demand more than you thought you could give. Parents of twins often realize that the experience has changed them in fundamental ways, shaping their character, their resilience, and their understanding of love. The double weight of responsibility, once seen as a burden, becomes a defining aspect of their growth, a force that has shaped their journey in ways that continue to unfold. In the end, raising twins is not simply about carrying twice the responsibility. It is about discovering that the human heart is capable of expanding beyond what logic suggests. What once felt overwhelming becomes a source of strength, and what once seemed impossible becomes part of your identity. The weight never truly disappears, but it transforms into something meaningful, something that shapes who you are and how you see the world. To have two lives depending on you at the same time is not just a challenge, it is a profound invitation to grow, to evolve, and to love in a way that transcends limits. And within that journey, you realize that you were never just raising them. You were also becoming someone new,